RPN, the Roddenberry Podcast Network.
Today is Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020, and this is your daily Star Trek news from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. On today's show, producer David Zapponi gives an update on his Star Trek Voyager documentary. There's a new Lcars-style dining set making waves on social media, and I'm taking you back in time for a little Star Trek history. I'm Alison Pitt, and today's show is supported by people like you through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/Daily Star Trek News. Right, so before we get into the news, I just want to remind you that if you're new, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. There's a button down below, and the little bell icon will give you a notification every time there's a new episode. Also looking forward to Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. I'm going live here on this channel talking about the week's biggest stories on Daily Star Trek News. Also, any questions that you might have, and I'll also be doing a very quick review of this week's Star Trek Discovery. So if you have any questions that you'd like to have answered or anything that you'd like to discuss, please leave them in a comment down below, and hopefully we'll see you on Friday. All right, let's get on with the news. Fans of Star Trek Voyager are getting some good news this week. In a new interview with Trek Report, executive producer David Zapponi confirmed that production has been ongoing for the yet unnamed Star Trek Voyager documentary, and that the film could be released in 2021. In March of 2020, Zapponi and his team were on board and filming during Star Trek The Cruise, and it's a good thing too, because nearly the entire cast of Voyager was on board for the festivities. After filming what Zapponi called an amazing week, the cruise ended and the world quickly went into lockdown due to the pandemic, halting production on the documentary and canceling in-person Star Trek events for the foreseeable future. We filmed for an entire week and got just about everybody, including offshore excursions, Zapponi said in the interview, adding, "Talk about amazing timing, and no one got sick. We were on the last cruise until at least 2022, and virtually the whole Voyager cast reunited." Zapponi noted that filming was planned for Star Trek conventions in the US and abroad throughout the year, but all of those events were canceled or postponed. Promising a definitive look, Zapponi and his team have been hard at work filming new interviews for the documentary. While there is much left to do, he indicated that he expects the film to be completed and released sometime in 2021, saying, "I've already spoken to some of the writers, we've already got 3 more of the principal actors, and we're about to film 2 more. I anticipate that it will be out next year." To read the full interview, visit trek.report. Up next, there's a new set of Star Trek-themed dinnerware getting fans all excited on social media. Following on from this year's now sold-out Comic-Con exclusive Enterprise A tea set, if you remember that one, the new Lcars-themed dining set aims to help you bring a bit of Star Trek ambiance into your dining room. New from Robe Factory and sold by Toynk.com, that's Toynk.com, the officially licensed Star Trek The Next Generation Lcars interface 16-piece ceramic dinnerware set features black dishes with an Lcars pattern in a modern square shape. The 16 pieces consist of 4 dinner plates, 4 salad plates, 4 bowls, and 4 mugs. They're microwave and dishwasher safe and would work for both private breakfasts in your quarters or for highly important dinners with interplanetary dignitaries. And just to clarify, Toynk.com says that tapping on your plate will not change the Brussels sprouts into brownies. While these Lcar plates are functional, they're not functional. So yes, those plates that you've been seeing around the internet are real, and yes, you can get them for yourself. Head to Toynk.com today and check them out. Now in just a moment, I'll be taking you back in time to find out what happened this week in Star Trek history, but first, I just want to remind you that Daily Star Trek News is supported by people like you through Patreon, where you can contribute directly to support your favorite creators. Now you can support Daily Star Trek News from just $1 a month and up. Those funds help us deliver the latest Star Trek news to you wherever you are. So head to patreon.com/Daily Star Trek News today and pledge to support us from just $1 or more. That's patreon.com/Daily Star Trek News, and a big thanks to you for supporting this show. And now, a look back into Star Trek history. It was today, December 2nd, back in 1963, that actor Dan Gautier was born. Gautier played Ensign Sam Lavelle, one of the 4 main Lower Deckers in the Star Trek The Next Generation Season 7 episode, Lower Decks. After the events of the episode in which 4 ensigns vie for promotion aboard the Enterprise, Lavelle is promoted to Lieutenant Junior grade. Little spoiler alert. Outside of Star Trek, Gautier has had a long career in television and films, including as regular characters on Tour of Duty, Beverly Hills 90210, Melrose Place, and soaps All My Children and One Life to Live. Let's also not forget that Gautier played the role of heartthrob Brad Powell in the criminally underrated 1989 film Teen Witch. Please join me in wishing Dan Gautier a very happy 57th birthday. And you can tune in again next Wednesday for more Star Trek history. And now just one last thing before I go. If you're up for some preview stills from this week's Star Trek Discovery, I've posted them on dailystartreknews.com, along with a sneak preview clip from the episode, which is called The Sanctuary, and drops on Thursday on CBS All Access. And just one last thing. A quick hello to new listeners from India. I know that there's a growing number of you, so please don't be shy. Come and say hello, and I'm glad to have you here. Well, that's it for today's Daily Star Trek News from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Don't forget to check out the other great shows on the network at podcasts.roddenberry.com. Daily Star Trek News is produced by me, Alison Pitt, with selected stories by Chris Peterson. We're supported by people like you through Patreon. Find out how you can add your support at patreon.com/Daily Star Trek News. Sign up for the Daily Star Trek newsletter at dailystartreknews.com/contact. Get all the day's Star Trek news delivered straight to your inbox every weekday morning. And if email's not your thing, then don't forget to follow Daily Star Trek News on social media. We're at Daily Trek News on Twitter and Instagram. I'm back tomorrow with more of the Star Trek news you need to know and the weekend's Star Trek events. I'm Alison Pitt. Live long and prosper.
Podcast.roddenberry.com, the Roddenberry Podcast Network.